What if I told you there's a universal law so powerful, so incredibly powerful, that it was literally erased from books, hidden from schools, and ridiculed in scientific circles? And that Carl Jung, yes, that Carl Jung, the one who revolutionized psychology, knew about this law and left hidden clues in his writings for those with eyes to see. The thing is, this truth was far too dangerous. Because if everyone knew what it really does, no one would keep living on autopilot, without purpose, blind to the signs of the universe. This isn't just another mystical theory. This is a truth that can flip your inner world upside down. A law that shows how everything, absolutely everything, is connected. Thought, emotion, energy, and reality. But why has no one told you this before? Who benefits from your spiritual ignorance? Why have you spent your life thinking coincidences were just luck, when in fact they're soul codes trying to wake you up? And more importantly, what happens when you activate this law consciously? This video isn't just content, it's an invitation, an awakening. And if you stick around until the end, you'll understand why Carl Jung had to disguise what he discovered. You'll uncover why you keep repeating the same patterns, and how you can break them with a simple shift in frequency. Believe me, what you're about to hear no one's told you before, and once you find out why, everything will make sense. So buckle up, because the truth starts now. Most people don't realize it, but Carl Jung's writings hold hidden layers that reveal far more than they seem to at first glance. He spoke of archetypes, symbols, and the collective unconscious as if he were trying to unlock a truth that had always been right under our noses. The existence of a universal law so powerful, it connects human beings to their very destiny. Jung sensed that the universe wasn't just a cluster of random events. There was a hidden order, a kind of invisible mechanism operating behind the scenes. But this subtle, revolutionary insight didn't sit well with the gatekeepers of rigid logic and tangible reality. After all, when someone realizes that their thoughts, feelings, and dreams can directly shape their reality, they become dangerous. Dangerous to those who control the system, of course. Jung, without shouting it from the rooftops, left clues. In works like Man and His Symbols, he described how the human mind communicates with the universe through symbolic imagery. Signposts left by this universal law that links mind, matter, and purpose. It wasn't just philosophy, it was a spiritual map disguised in academic language. And those with eyes to see understood. And that's where the real question begins. What else did he know but chose not to say outright? Perhaps out of caution, or maybe because the world wasn't ready to digest such a raw truth. But here's the good news. If you've made it this far, maybe you're ready. And what comes next might just change the way you interpret every event in your life, even the ones that seem to make no sense at all. Because once you see the hidden pattern in coincidences, you start to notice the golden thread that weaves everything together. Imagine for a second that your thoughts, emotions, and intentions aren't just internal byproducts of your mind, but encoded keys that interact directly with reality. Sounds like science fiction, right? But that's exactly what Carl Jung began to realize as he studied the invisible patterns linking the mind to the external world. He wasn't just talking about psychology, he was speaking of universal laws. Laws that reveal how everything vibrates, everything connects, and how our inner choices shape the world we experience on the outside. But this idea was far too powerful, and it was quickly silenced. Because if everyone knew they could create their own reality, how would you control an entire population? This universal law, the one that links vibration to manifestation, was disguised as mysticism and mocked by those who profited from collective ignorance. Yet it's there, operating, even when no one believes in it. When Jung studied synchronicities, he was actually trying to prove the existence of a secret code of vibrational alignment. Like thinking of an answer and suddenly seeing it on a billboard. or feeling a wave of negativity, and soon after, experiencing an emotional energy crash. None of this is random. It's vibration, it's response, it's the echo of your frequency. And here's the point. If this law is already working silently, even when you don't know it exists, imagine what could happen when you start using it consciously. Reading a powerful book like The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, or simply starting to practice intentional affirmations, these are small but transformative steps. Have you ever wondered why some dreams never come true while others manifest almost magically? Maybe the answer lies in this invisible frequency that connects desire, belief, and action. And the next topic will show you how this frequency reveals itself in the hidden lines of everyday life. Carl Jung didn't use the word synchronicities lightly. He knew that certain coincidences weren't just random happenings, but encrypted messages from the unconscious, aligned with what he called a hidden order. When you think about someone and they suddenly call you, or when a symbol keeps showing up in different contexts, that's not just chance. It's the universe blinking at you, saying, "Hey, pay attention." These synchronicities are the most direct way this universal law uses to alert you that something greater is working behind the scenes of your life. And that's where the hidden power lies. When you start taking these messages seriously, like decoding a sacred script, your perception begins to shift. You start to notice patterns where you once saw only chaos. A simple example: those repeating numbers you keep seeing on the clock, like 11:11 or 22:22. To someone asleep, they're just random times. But to someone who's woken up to the game, they're signs you're on the right path. Universal laws use these signs to align you with your mission. Ignoring them is like throwing away a treasure map just because it doesn't come with a legend. The key is to observe without judgment, write things down, reflect, and above all, feel. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in synchronicities. And once you learn to listen, you begin to move with purpose instead of struggle. Life stops feeling like a fight and starts to flow. And if you think this is already deep, just wait until you uncover why there's so much resistance around this knowledge, and who has benefited from keeping it out of your reach. Let's be honest. If there's a universal law capable of shaping reality through consciousness, who would have an interest in hiding it from you? The answer is simpler and more uncomfortable than it seems. Institutions that thrive on your fear, your dependency, and your spiritual disconnection. Dogmatic religions, authoritarian governments, outdated educational systems, they all have one thing in common. They function best when you believe you have no power. Carl Jung knew this. He knew that revealing these universal laws could elevate humanity to a whole new level of consciousness. But he also knew it would rattle the foundations of powerful systems. So it's no surprise that anyone who speaks about this gets labeled as too mystical, crazy, or alternative. The trick is to discredit the messenger before the message gains traction. But once you realize that synchronicities aren't random, they're clues pointing to something greater, it all starts to make sense. There's a reason so much effort goes into silencing those who see beyond the script. It's like we're living in a massive theater with a pre-written play. And Jung wanted to show us that the script can be rewritten. And that, my friend, is a threat to anyone profiting from your conformity. Want a practical tip? Question everything. Don't accept ready-made truths just because someone said so. Ask why you never learned about vibration, energy, and synchronicity in school. Ask why the most profound books are dismissed as self-help and pushed to the back shelves. The more you question, the more the veil begins to lift. And once it starts to rise, that's when the most transformative truth of all comes to light. This law, though silenced, can still be activated by you. You don't need to be a mystic exiled in the Himalayas to activate this universal law. In fact, the secret lies in things far simpler and more accessible than you might think. It all starts with presence, being here, now, paying attention to the signs, listening more than you speak. When you quiet the noise of the world, you begin to hear what truly matters. Carl Jung always believed that the collective unconscious communicates through symbols and emotions. And when you tune your energy to that field, it's as if a new layer of reality starts to unfold. Daily meditation, intuitive journaling, books like The Kybalion or The Power of Now, these are great places to start. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It needs to be applied. You activate this universal law when you stop resisting life's flow and start co-creating with it. Want to change your reality? Change your vibrational field. A powerful practice is to begin and end your day with 3 simple questions. What is the universe trying to show me today? What was the biggest sign I ignored? What can I do differently tomorrow? This trains your brain to see synchronicities as spiritual compasses. And when you start acting on those signs, reality responds. You'll notice coincidences intensify, the right people show up, doors open, and no, it's not magic, it's alignment. It's the universe saying, now you've got it, so I can show you more. That's when life shifts out of autopilot. The question is, will you keep living as if everything is random? Or will you finally use this key that's been in your hands all along? Because if everything up to this point has resonated with you, what comes next is even more urgent and cuts straight to the truth no one wants to tell you. Now tell me this. After everything you've just heard, are you really going to keep calling it coincidence when it's clearly a calling? Are you really going to ignore the chills, the synchronicities, the soul's signals, like they're just random body reactions or all in your head? Because if you've made it this far, some part of you already knows. The universe has been speaking to you for a long time. The real question is, what are you going to do with that now? Will you start writing down the signs that show up? Will you start paying attention to those goosebumps that come out of nowhere? Will you allow yourself to feel more and overthink less? Because once you start trusting your intuition, everything changes. And if you've ever experienced something that gave you that deep, undeniable shiver, share it in the comments. I want to know, what's the strongest coincidence you've ever had? The one that made you stop and think, this can't just be random. And if this video sparked something inside you, if it made sense, do this. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, because in the next videos, I'll keep revealing the hidden codes behind reality, and you won't want to miss it. This journey is just beginning, and if everything you heard today resonated, then you already know. The universe is ready to guide you, but the question is, are you ready to listen?